nation wants to know.
If you have watched Indian primetime television long enough, you know the formula. There is always a question, there is always a villain, and there is always a nation that wants to know. A professor based out of New Zealand looked at how one TV news channel, that's Republic TV, covered the Cockroach Jantar Party's protest in Delhi.
My work broadly covers authoritarian and authoritarian populist regimes, India being one such space, particularly in terms of its democratic metrics. So I've been, studying Indian media infrastructures for a while now, and this particular window was really important in that sense because it was worthwhile to look at how a student-led protest was being framed in this particular media infrastructure.
The first finding in the white paper by Professor Mohan J Dutta is that the students themselves disappear in the coverage. The paper says, across 58,941 words of broadcast content about the student protests, the students' demand are structurally absent. Instead, the channel spent those 7 days telling a very different story. A story involving the CIA, the US Embassy, foreign funding, missionary organizations, Greta Thunberg operation, and Pakistan. Professor Dutta from Massey University analyzed Republic TV broadcast from July 20 to July 26. He looked at 25 broadcasts, removed repeated sections, and analyzed 58,941 words of unique content. Basically, he turned 7 days of primetime chaos into a giant text file. He looked at one question: what was the protest actually about, according to the TV channel? The paper said the shift happened almost immediately on July 21st.
And the Americans do not want India to grow. They'll be very happy at what the CJP is doing, which is why the links to America becoming clearer.
The paper argues that this was the turning point. The protest was no longer framed primarily as students demanding answers. It became someone planning something. And then the connections started appearing. The paper describes the coverage as building a cosmology, a world where the CIA was involved, the US Embassy knew, messaging apps helped organize protests, a student safety guide became a toolkit, and foreign actors were allegedly pulling the strings. Republic TV referred to United States 164 times, China 89 times, Pakistan 76 times, CIA 43 times, American Embassy 29 times, and Trump or Rubio 28 times in 1 week of the coverage. The paper's argument is that something interesting happened here. For years, Pakistan has often been the familiar villain in this kind of political television narrative. But during this protest, America entered the chat. The paper says foreign conspiracy narrative was not built by simply repeating foreign interference, foreign interference, foreign interference. No, that phrase appeared only 24 times. Instead, it was built through things that look investigative. A funding law, a diplomatic visit, a money trail, specific figures. The paper describes this as precision is the aesthetic, evidence is not the point. Meaning, the details make the story feel like an investigation, even when the underlying claim can be disputed.
Congressmen who have voiced concerns, right? Obviously, they belong. Their base is a evangelical or a missionary base, right? And they're the ones who've been voicing concerns about the abolition or the amendments to the FCRA.
According to the paper, the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or the FCRA, became the central explanation offered by Republic TV. The argument went something like this: the government is trying to tighten funding rules. Foreign actors don't like that. Therefore, they are backing the opposition to the government. The coverage also linked this narrative to US Secretary of State Marco Rubio's visit to Kolkata, where he met the missionaries of charity. But the critics of the new FCRA rule have argued something very different. They say the law has been used to restrict NGOs and civil society groups that challenge government policies. The paper says there was one more storyline running alongside the foreign conspiracy angle, one that was turning protesters into suspects. The researchers argue that Republic TV repeatedly questioned whether the protesters were actually students. The logic: if they are real students, why are they protesting? If they are protesting, maybe they are not really students.
That over 90 to 95% of those at Jantar Mantar are not students.
The paper says street interviews were selectively used to create the image of a professional protester rather than a student movement. Then came Internet Freedom Foundation's safety guide. It advised protesters on digital security. It said, don't carry your primary phone, disable face unlock, be cautious about surveillance. Republic TV framed this as a toolkit.
This is a toolkit, I believe, to avoid getting caught.
The paper argues this created a strange contradiction. The channel supported facial recognition systems used by the police, but advice on protecting yourself from surveillance was presented as suspicious. The protest ended, the minister resigned, students went home. Story over. Nope. On July 26th, climate activist Greta Thunberg posted support for the students, and that became confirmation of the foreign hand theory.
Greta Thunberg is the person who is joined hand with the Pakistan-backed groups as well as with the Khalistani groups. She is a very dangerous person.
These narratives, once concocted, they move into the police infrastructures and then form the basis of the security, intelligence, and legal infrastructures. And that flow is what we should really be concerned about. Now, the real challenge then is the two-way flow between the media narratives, how media portrays a dissent, and then the role that the state plays in targeting, silencing, and incarcerating dissenting voices, which then further feeds into the media narrative.
A protest can be seen in two very different ways. You can ask, why are thousands of young people on the streets? What failed them? What answers are they demanding? Or you can ask, who is controlling them? Who is funding them? The questions we choose shape the stories we tell. This white paper examines 1 week of TV news coverage, but the larger question goes beyond one channel or one protest. It asks what happens when the voices of people are replaced by narratives about suspicion, enemies, and conspiracy. That's all from me. I'm Shivani Kava from the News Minute, and the last few weeks have shown us the importance of India's independent media. Be a proud supporter of independent media by contributing to the News Minute's reporting fund or become a paid TNM subscriber. The links are in the comments.